In this video, I'm going to attempt to make an acorn. I got these two examples from a tree at my parents' house, and I'm going to use sapele and mahogany. This will be the seed part, and this will be the cap. And I'm going to turn an acorn and hollow it out and make it into a box. So I put it between centers, and now I'm going to use a bowl gouge to establish a tenon so I can flip it around and put it in the chuck. So I've set my calipers for the diameter of the chuck I'm going to use. So I will make this tenon to this diameter. Alright, get the perfect size. So I'm going to flip it around, grab it in the chuck, and then turn it around and start looking at a shape. So I flipped it around and have it in the chuck, and brought up the tailstock for some support. Use spindle roughing gouge to get it round, and then I'll start thinking about the shape. So I have it round now. So looking at these two examples of an acorn, and I want this to be probably the top, and then the thickness of my mahogany, that's going to be the cap. Start working on proportioning out the acorn. Probably going to be this long-ish. Alright, so we'll start working on that. I'm going to hollow out the inside first. I'm going to use this large Forstner bit to hollow out, at least start hollowing. I don't want to go too deep because I'm going to want this curve in, so I'm probably only going to go 1.5 inches deep. I still have to face this end, so that's what I'll be working on now. 250 RPM. It's not very deep, but it's probably 1.25 inches. But I'll use some hollowing tools now and work on hollowing more of the inside. Facing off the side, top, get the final shape so I can get my final depth. So I'm going to work on hollowing out the inside just a little bit, even everything out using this carbide tool, and then work on the outside. So I was able to use a bowl gouge and a scraper to make my final depth. So I'm going to sand it. Now I'm going to work on making the shoulder and then shaping the rest of the acorn bottom, making sure that I don't go through the wall. So right now it's 1 5/8 deep. So I'll give myself a 1/4 inch gap, and I'll start taking this down to final shape. This is the shape I have so far. I'll keep working it down a little bit more, and then I'll sand everything. And I'll probably end up having to flip it around and finishing the bottom, the point. Alright, so I've sanded up through 400 grit, used sanding sealer and abrasive paste to finish both the outside and the inside. Now I'm going to part it off and hopefully be able to flip it around using this as a mortise or a tenon and finish the point. Then I'll have to resand and refinish up through there. So because I already had this piece on, I'm going to try something new that I haven't done before. I turned this down to fit the inside diameter of this. It's called a jam chuck. And so I can fit this tightly on here and use that as a chuck. And hopefully I'll be able to turn the end. I got to true it up a little bit like this, but other than that, that's what I'll be using to turn the bottom. So I have it on the jam chuck, and I brought this tailstock up for support. It's not really that engaged, but I did get it pretty true. And so now I'm going to be using a spindle gouge because this is still with the grain. There's no need for a bowl gouge to try and finish off that bottom. So looking at this shape, looks pretty good. I'm just going to try and make the little pointy nub thing that exists on an acorn and sand and refinish the outside. I'll work on sanding it and then refinishing it. So I was able to finish the outside. Now I'll work on the cap.